Welcome back to the Gold Creek Extended Cut podcast. We dive a little bit deeper into the weekend message. Today, we have a dear colleague.
Oh, colleague.
We were colleagues.
Yeah, we were.
We're collegial. Colleague, friend, guy I look up to from a distance.
Neighbor.
Neighborhood.
Oh,
dude, how did I forget about that? Andrew Gard is here. Yeah, man. So from Grace City Church, he'll tell us about that in a second. We were neighbors in Florida.
Yeah.
I had a bad joke. I would always say, Andrew just lived a few $100,000 up the street.
Yeah, it's a terrible joke. It's a terrible joke.
It's a reality, but I'll just say I don't mean to talk about this stuff on our podcast, but anybody listening knows it's not cheap here.
No, right.
And so we actually paid about 20% more for our home here than we sold it for in Lakeland. And we live in a 2003 track home.
Yes.
That needs a new roof.
Different
it's
market.
Crazy.
Different
market.
What's crazy is how much prices have went up in Florida.
Have they?
Over the last few years. It's kind of wild. Yeah, very fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not going to, you preached about provision today.
Yes.
I'm not in a position to complain because we were the beneficiaries of those low interest rates and that hockey stick. Yeah, man, tell us a little bit. You're from up here?
Yep, from the Pacific Northwest. Kind of grew up in Tacoma, Puyallup, Pierce County area. Graduated from Rogers High School in 2001, and then really kind of gave my heart to Christ when I was 17, and then started attending, which at that time was Puyallup Foursquare, now Motion Church.
Yep.
And that was kind of my first church engagement. And so, Pacific Northwest has a special place in our heart and is kind of home.
What do you feel like, this is a random question I didn't think of or prep you with at all, but what do you think that being part of P4/Motion Church now, that as your first church experience, what did that do in you?
It changed the trajectory of my life because I started going to Puyallup Foursquare when it was about 11 months old, about 11 to 12 months old.
Dang.
So it was new.
Okay.
It was fresh. They had just moved. They met for the first year at like a junior high school.
Okay.
And they had just moved into this preschool. Like I was there like maybe the first couple of weeks in this preschool that they moved into after a year.
Okay.
And so there were probably 150, 200 people going to the church.
Dang.
And,
I didn't know this.
Yeah. And so I went there but from the early days, just everything was excellent. Like the communication was excellent. The worship was powerful. The community was robust. So I just walked in, and then I watched the church become what it is and grow. And for me, it just taught me on a very basic, raw level how to do like excellent and yet still like spirit-led church with punch, not sterile excellent church, but like excellent church with soul. And I think for me, had I not been in that environment, and that was really my first and only church experience until I started vocational ministry.
Dude.
So it changed the trajectory of my life.
One of the things you talked about this morning, I'll just touch, is talked about this idea of provision, God putting things in your hand, people in your life.
Yep.
It's interesting that like being able to be at that church in that season, like was that in a way.
It was everything. It was God knowing what he wanted to do with my life and therefore positioning me in a place. And also me, I look back now at 17 years old and I'm grateful for the grace of God that somehow gave me the like wherewithal to get planted at 17 years old.
There's something about this.
100%. And I look back now and I'm like, how did I know that at 17? You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
But intrinsically, I just did.
Yeah.
And I threw myself into it. And I say this all the time, church is, it is like an organism. It's not just an organization, it's an organism. And so it's like any relationship, it leans back to the degree you lean in. And so I just understood for some reason at an early age, man, I'm going to lean into this hard. And I had that sense and it leaned back hard.
Was part of that like, I don't know what the rest of your life was like in that season.
Yeah.
Was part of it just how different church was?
It was the only church I'd ever been to.
Yeah, okay.
So I got saved when I was 17
Okay.
at an event
Okay.
at PLU.
Oh,
and
sick.
so Daryl Scott was speaking. His daughter was Rachel Scott. She died in the Columbine shootings.
Yes.
And so he was traveling around the country just talking about Rachel's faith.
Wow.
And I went to this event.
Okay.
And
why'd you go? I mean,
because if you're thinking back, because you're 30.
I'm 38.
38. So I would have been 17 when Columbine happened, and that was the first of its kind.
Dang. Yeah.
Unfortunately now you see those things that pop up throughout the year.
Yeah.
That was kind of
1996 or 7?
No, it would have been like 98, 99 in that era.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
it was the first of its kind. So it was just national news.
Yeah.
So this guy talking about his daughter's death was like intriguing. So I get invited to this event. And I'm there, and it's a full-blown church service. Now it's just a church event. It's like a college ministry event, and the PLU gym is packed, and his daughter's talking, or he's talking about his daughter's faith, and I'm just radically transformed. God's like speaking to me, and I just had never been to church in my life. I didn't grow up in a home talking about God.
Right.
And then I get saved, and then like a month later, I got invited to go to Puyallup Foursquare. And the church was a year old, and I walk in, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever. And it wasn't cool in the way that we understand like cool church nowadays.
No, for sure.
It was just like
done well,
powerful, and excellent.
Yeah.
And Roger was preaching in a way that I understood.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever been around,
dude.
And so that was it. Yeah.
And then you worked there.
Yeah, and then I worked there. So I served there from 17 to 22.
Okay.
And I was a worship leader there. And I was like the summertime janitorial intern. And I was, served on the young adults team and the youth team and just, everything. And then I went away for a couple years and then came back as the young adult pastor. And then we started an internship, and all that kind of stuff. And so,
I feel like one of the things you've carried always from that, I'm just thinking about the markers of that season, is one of the things you've carried is like, we're going to be a place where young people can find themselves, but then, I don't know, I'm just going to pick F words safely.
Yeah.
Find themselves and flourish.
Yeah, 100%.
Is that, how do you bake that into your whole DNA?
Yeah, so it's interesting in church culture, typically what we do is we allow the most quote unquote mature people to act the most immature. And we expect the most immature people to be the most mature.
Interesting.
And so kind of in our church life, there are preferences that the more mature believers lay down because they're mature believers.
I love that.
And in order that we can reach more immature people.
Right.
And so that's kind of the way that we just process it and think about it.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of what I learned from Puyallup Foursquare. And, we're quick to get people activated in ministry.
Yeah.
And so we have, and this is just from my Puyallup Foursquare days, we have kids that are 13 years old running around with the camera on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's like, we want young people to get as involved as possible as we can.
Dude.
Well, at the same time, you don't neglect your seasoned people. It's like the way we have it at Grace City is people have to be able to see themselves.
Yeah.
So both generationally, ethnic, educated, uneducated, like people have to see themselves. And so, so I think that's important.
I love that,
think for people to be able to do that. But for us, it's like, man, we're quick to get young people involved. A great example of this is, when we started Grace City, I was 33 years old, and I'm almost
Jesus here.
I'm almost 43.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, not that long ago, I found myself going, man, the music's loud. And so I text our sound guy, like any senior pastor does. What are the DBs? And
I did it this morning.
Yeah. And what's funny is the DBs are the same.
Dang.
The music level's the same.
Dang.
The only thing that's changed is I'm 10 years older.
Yeah. Fascinating.
And so as the senior pastor of the church now, I am laying down some preferences. Dude. So that we can continue to be a one generation shall declare his good works to the next.
Yeah.
And so it's a really interesting thing. And that makes sense because I'm the more mature believer. I would be fine with an acoustic guitar and a Bible study. And that makes sense because I'm a mature believer. Right. And so I think that I think that's just a frame of reference that we constantly, train our seasoned people.
Do you think it's still true that, Gallup or Pew or whoever, they've always kind of said you can reach 15 years up, 15 years down. Do you think that's still consistent, or is that changing as the ethos of church changes?
It's a great question. I think it primarily is based on the anointing of the senior leader.
Interesting.
I don't know that I totally believe that one way or the other.
As a hard rule.
Yeah. I think that primarily, I think different people have different graces. Mm-hmm. And so I'll talk to people and they'll go, we want to be the young adults church.
Yeah.
And, okay. I want somebody to give our church a $10 million gift.
I want to play for the Warriors.
Yeah, 100%.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. And so it's like, it doesn't really matter necessarily what you want. It's about what are you anointed to do? Yeah, so when people ask me, man, were you guys going for young adults? It's like, no. Mm-hmm. But if you look at our past ministry fruit, it had always include young adults. Mm-hmm. Now, conversely, what's so interesting about Christina and I would call us old souls. Mm-hmm. So I've always been able to relate. Like my best friend, probably two of my best friends in Lakeland are a guy named Bill Mutz and Tim Cox. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about two guys that one's in their upper 60s, one's in their upper mid 70s. And those are like, if you were to say, hey, who are your two closest, who are two of your maybe top 5 closest friends? That would be 2 of them.
Wow.
And so we've always connected well with older people too. So then that's where that comes in. So that's part of the anointing. Like if you came to our church, it's pretty robust in that way. But there are some people, man, I know guys, it's like, man, they are just graced to reach that mid 40 like business guy. And that's great. Sure. Yeah. So I think the key is not exclusively, can I reach 15 years older, 15 years younger?
Right.
Because let's say that rule does hold true, then it would be, okay, if I can reach 10 to 15 years younger, okay, well now that puts me at early 30s.
Right.
Or late 20s.
Right.
But that's okay. If I got some early 30s that really buy in to what we're doing, well, then they're going to reproduce themselves in those early
21-year-olds.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And so I think that is kind of what's helped us.
Yeah, that's so interesting, man. I mean, because I feel like there's nothing worse, especially than that old person like trying to kick it down 10 extra years.
It's tough. It's tough. From everything, from attire to how they speak, to everything. It's like, man, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And to your point, I mean, I think whatever anybody's looking for is authenticity.
Right.
They're not looking. So it's like, dude, I mean, if I connect with you, I connect with you.
Exactly.
You know,
it's why John Piper can reach college students and Rich Wilkerson Jr. can reach college.
Yeah.
Like it's just like your anointing is your anointing.
Tell us the few-minute story of Grace City. Yeah. I know it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But
so we were at Southeastern University, where we worked together, and had a great experience there. And what was interesting is when we went there, we didn't think we'd plant a church in Lakeland. We didn't think we'd be in Central Florida our whole lives.
Yeah.
But we knew we'd be local church people, and that we were going there to serve with Kent for those early days when he got there, and then we just fell in love with Lakeland. We fell in love with Central Florida. Yeah. We were just like, man. And then we saw there are tons of great churches there. We just didn't hear anything in our stereo.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we feel like there's a spot for us here.
There's a frequency.
There's a frequency here along with these other frequencies. Nothing annoys me quite to the degree is like when a church planter goes into a place and they're like, it's like, dude, there are people been here sowing in here for decades. Little dude, chill out.
Yeah.
And so I didn't feel like there were plenty of great churches.
Yeah.
But we felt like there was a space for us. And so that was when we kind of were like, okay, let's give it a go, and started meeting with people in our living room. And that was 10 years ago, and God really was in it, and it's been kind of a wild ride ever since.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years. Hard to believe.
If you were going to pick 3 things that are hallmark in the next 10, what would you pick?
Great question. Man, I think the thing I'm always, especially I would say in the last 2 years, leaning into our team is just, man, how do we provide elite care for people? So right now, that's like the next 10 years. It's like we're going to grow. We're moving into a new building. We've grown every year of Grace City Church.
Yeah.
right now I'm just in how do we provide elite care for people? So, okay. So for example, here's a like thing we're processing right now is going, okay, we have city groups, meet in people's homes, meet in the coffee shops.
Yeah.
But we're also going to kind of, in addition to that, we're going to add, we might call it like discipleship U or something like that.
Yeah.
But we're going to almost bring back Sunday school, just not on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have like Tuesdays be like, man, that's the day we're going to probably have 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, 3 or 4 at night, larger kind of just classroom settings.
Yeah, these are on trend.
Yeah. Of just going, man, we're going to have like, Dr. Chris Palmer, who goes to the church, we're gonna have him do Revelation for 10 weeks.
Good
and
Lord.
If you want to do that, like you're gonna be in this room and you're gonna be in that room. So some of that's just providing greater care, greater discipleship for people. So I'd say that's a big one.
I love that, bro. Elite care.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So
do you listen to Newhoff?
No.
Okay. He just had a dude on him, Jason. He's the pastor now at a church called LCBC, was Lancaster County Bible Church.
Okay.
Now Lives Changed by Christ.
I love it.
They switched it up.
Yep.
But they're a massive, amazing, I don't know what they run, 40,000.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
one of these. But their new guy was saying that he's like, this is the thing I'm most proud of, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Is as big as we've gotten. He's like, we do personal better than we've ever done.
Yeah.
And he's like, every first time guest still, I don't know how many guests they have on a Sunday, 200. I mean, I don't know. Every first time guest gets handmade chocolate chip cookies delivered to their door.
Yeah.
And they have a 280%, they've had a 280% increase of like first time guests becoming third time guests from the cookies. And I'm like, dude, that matters.
Yeah, it does. It does 100%. So yeah, that's kind of, that would be one thing. The other thing is I'm really excited over these next 10 years. This is why I'm such a big fan of like in-house development, I'm just an in-house pipeline. We hire from in-house. That's just what we do.
For sure.
And so I think the thing I'm really excited about is to see, now we have some of these guys on staff that did maybe our internship that were 19, 20, 21. Now they've been on staff for 5 years. So now they're 26. So then in the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to be in their mid 30s to late 30s.
Yeah.
And so I'm really curious to see how things get exponential. And I think oftentimes, especially in today's culture with churches, people are too in a hurry to get exponential.
Yeah.
They're too in a hurry to multiply.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think for us, I'm really excited to see like patient. We have one location, we have 2 locations, Lakeland, Tampa, and we're building our current building. And so we haven't been in a hurry to multiply. And I think over the next 10 years, now we're getting into our main building. That's going to be our resource center for all of the Grace City thing.
Yeah. You're like in and out.
Yeah.
You build the distribution center first.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we've been doing. And so now I'm excited to see some of our staff, go 25 to 32.
Yeah.
And go, oh, this is going to get fun. And who knows who's going to come out of that are going to be planting the locations and stuff like that.
Dude.
So, yeah.
Do you guys do, how do you do the teaching at Tampa? Is it live?
It's live preaching.
Love it.
Live preaching. Alex DeMare.
Yeah.
Like me and Christine would be the senior pastors over Grace City.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And then Alex would be the lead pastor of Grace City Tampa.
Love it.
And so he preaches and teaches. I'll get out there a few times a year. Christina gets out there a couple times a year.
Love that. So there's a connection and affinity.
Oh yeah, there's a connection. And then we gather around, conference, and we do one big staff and council retreat. And so we're just making sure the culture is the same.
Yeah.
I'm okay with some nuance.
Of course.
Kind of here and there. It's going to manifest through the leader.
Yeah.
But if you went to Grace City Lakeland at the first service, and then you went out to Grace City Tampa at the second service, you'd go, I feel like I'm at the same church.
I could tell y'all are cousins.
Yeah. I feel like I'm at the same church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I'll switch gears on it. Obviously, if you're in a season like this, not everybody's going to know, so I'll just share for 10 seconds. Like if you're not a church person, in churches are organizations, right?
Yep.
I'm learning, you probably learned this a long time ago. I'm like, hey, church is not a business.
Right.
So that's real, but there is a business aspect to church you can't ignore.
Correct.
And so in some ways it creates the worst of both worlds. You can't just drive revenue and all these different things. But I think in that you guys are in a moment as a church, Less about the church, more of you as the leader.
Yeah.
You're in a season as a leader. You're bearing the weight of everything financial. Can't skin it any other way. You got people who help you, yada, yada, but you got a committee and council, but you bear the brunt of that. Right. What have you learned about what God's provision feels like in this kind of season? Like even just like what's that done in your heart? Versus how God, I'm sure God's provided other ways throughout your life. Your children.
Right, yeah, totally. Totally.
So there's been profound provision, but in this season, because you're carrying so much and the goal is so big, what do you feel like you've learned about God?
Oh man, I have literally the birth of my children, I talked a little bit about it this morning, just, some, almost a decade of undiagnosed infertility. My children and going through this like building thing and taking our church to the next level. And we're not even going to the next level. We're skipping a couple steps.
For sure.
We are. We're skipping a couple steps. But in order to do that, when you step out in faith like that, we needed God to show up, and we need God to show up. And I'll say this, the first like 7-8 years of our church, if I'm being really honest, has been relatively manageable. Even though, we were 1,400 people in 12 months from when we launched a church.
Sure.
And even with that measure of growth, and I share that, me, but the listening audience might not, but like I'm, with a measure of humility.
Of course.
It still felt manageable.
Sure.
Even now, I'm like, I don't feel like we have a big church. I feel like it's interesting to me.
Or if it's big, you got it.
It feels like God's made me for this, all that kind of stuff. This building project is like the first time where I went, this is beyond our scope, and I don't have this. And if God doesn't come through in a very real, tangible, profound manna from the sky kind of way, I'm going to be, looking at the job postings for Gold Creek Church. and so, so I think that I just have seen God come through time and time again. And it takes me back to, I remember I heard Tommy Barnett. We were at Art Conference. And Dino is interviewing Tommy Barnett. And he asked Tommy Barnett, you could go back and do it all over again. What would you do?
Dude, I remember this.
And he goes, I would have taken more risk.
I know.
Because every time I took a God risk, God came through. So why didn't I take more God risks?
Wow.
Man, and for me, it was like, oh man.
So Tommy, built the Dream Center.
Just everything. Just he goes, so why didn't I take more risk? Because I saw God come through every single time.
Wow.
And so this thing, so many times, this building, everything, what we're doing has come down to the wire over the last 18 months.
Which creates real stress, right? It's easy to sit here on a podcast and be like, oh, God came through. Like,
okay, I'll be incredibly transparent. Like, so there was something not that long ago that was coming down to the 12th hour.
Okay.
If we don't finalize this thing. And so we needed some people to underwrite some things, needed some people to co-sign, like all of this kind of stuff. Me and Christina ourselves personally are putting up a bunch of equity on stuff. And like we're putting our lives lively, everything on the line. This other guy called one of our council guys. And I go, hey, here's where we are. Here's what Christina and I are willing to do.
This is what we can do, I'm sure.
This is what we're willing to do. And he goes, well, what if we split it? What if we split the risk?
Wow.
We'll take 50% of that risk. You guys take 50% of that risk. And bro, I could cry right now.
Bro.
This is I on the phone started, I could cry right now, started bawling. I'm talking about could not talk on the phone. And if anybody that knows me knows, this is so out of character. I could not speak. Wow. I started bawling. And he's like, you still there, Andrew? And I'm like, yeah, I'm bawling. And I get off the phone and it was like 45 seconds of uncontrollable. And I don't even think I realized the measure of stress of that 7-8 day window where you're trying to continue to push this thing across the finish line. And I just have seen God, stuff like that. Of just going,
what if we split it, bro?
And he goes, what if we split the risk? You take 50%, I'll take 50%. And it was just, and again, so I just have seen God do that time and time again. and it's just building my faith. And I can't wait to look back on this. I can't wait to be talking to you in 3 years to go, oh man.
First of all, God had to come through on a few more things.
Yeah. And there's still more. That's the thing, is there's still more, but it's just given me so much faith and confidence.
Bro, that's so good, man. Well, I hope you're encouraged by Andrew's faith and story, and I hope God's providing in your life.
Yep.
I feel that, man. I feel that. I think in this season, just those times I got this prayer walk route. And it's not always provision, but sometimes it is. Sometimes I just 100%. I'm not an emotional person. Well, I am. We're all emotional people. Mine are just stuffed and repressed. But
I need counseling. But
all that stuff.
But I always love the guy's like, I'm not a crier, and he cries like every message. It's like, no, you definitely are a crier.
You are one. Which is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man. I love it. Well, thanks for joining us today. Thanks to Andrew. Thanks to checking out Gold Creek Extended Cut. See ya.